I got diagnosed with ADHD, and my life has changed ever since. I always felt like there was something different about me, but honestly, I couldn't really explain it. You know, in school, teachers will say, "Oh, like you're disorganized." Back in pharmacy school, I was working with a preceptor who was basically my boss, and he would look at me, and I guess at the time he was like, "Dude, do you have ADHD? Like, are you okay?" Because apparently the way I work or my ability to follow instructions weren't up to par, I guess. And at the time, I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, and the way he said it was kind of condescending. Like, it felt condescending. It felt like he was like saying, "Dude, are you retarded?" Like the way he said it was that. But those statements have always stood with me, and I remembered it. And even in high school and in college, I had to get extra time in school to finish my exams because I had so much because I couldn't finish my exams on time, and I didn't know it back then, but it was my ADHD playing a role in my delay in finishing school exams. All these things were kind of unusual, nuanced tendencies. I was like, okay, maybe there's something up for me. And then it was just one major moment where I'm like, all right, this is what triggered me to get a diagnosis. And honestly, it was actually a conversation I had with my ex. And basically, by the way, fellas, like, if you're having a conversation with your girl, give her your undivided attention, like as best as you can. Basically, whenever we would go out, I would just subconsciously just start looking around. Like, we might be eating at a restaurant, and I would just start looking around, looking at people. And she hated that. It drove her crazy whenever I did that because, one, she thought I was looking at other girls, even though that just wasn't the case. And two, she just wanted my full undivided attention. And she was like, and she called me out on it. She was like, "Hey, I don't think that's normal. Like, you just looking at a bunch of other people while we're talking." And I didn't really think much of it because I've been doing it all my life. But one thing is, you don't know what's normal, what's not normal. And she called me out on it. And honestly, quite frankly, she was pretty frustrated about it. So I was like, all right, let me see what's going on here. And it led me to essentially seek a diagnosis for ADHD and speak to a psychiatrist to really understand, like, hey, like, what's going on here, or if anything is going on, because I still don't, you don't know what's wrong or what's normal until you actually start to learn some of these conditions. So I went to go seek a psychiatrist, and I was doing my research online, and as I was doing my research, I found a psychiatrist online from Atlanta, which is where I'm from. And I was like, okay, this guy's from Atlanta. He's he got good reviews. He's a psychiatrist. Let me see what's up with him. And so I spoke with the office, and I told them about my concerns. And, I was like, maybe I have ADHD. I'm not really sure. But, I told them about all the things that made me think I could perhaps have it, like I told y'all in the beginning of the video. And they heard me, and they were like, okay, we're going to have you come in and take an exam. And essentially, this exam is called the QB test. And I've never heard of this test, but essentially, it's a test that they use that I guess is pretty accurate when it comes to understanding if someone really has ADHD or not. And it pretty much tests your ability to pay attention in like a very unique way. So I took this test, the QB test, and I kid you guys not, like, this is how I knew there was something wrong with me. The QB test literally felt like the hardest test of my life. And just to give y'all background, I'm literally a pharmacist who went to pharmacy school for 6 years. So I've taken just some of the hardest exams that you can imagine, and I've done it consistently. And this simple test felt harder than than the actual pharmacy school exam. And the crazy thing was the test was so goddamn simple that I'm like, it made me feel stupid. Literally all the test is just a green dot. And every time the green dot appears, you literally just click and you hit click. That's it. A green dot appears, you click it on your mouse. That's literally all you do. And I swear that was like the hardest thing in my life. Like I kept falling asleep. I kept like getting boiled, like, and I kept feeling jittery. Like I'm like, hey, like is there anything else I can do instead of just clicking this green dot? And then I was like, all right, there's something wrong with me, because literally all you have to do is just click a green dot. But I felt too impatient. They got my results, and I think a week or two later, I don't think it was like immediately, we had another appointment, and the psychiatrist essentially explained to me what happened, and he was like, hey, like you have ADHD, and you got tested out of 100, you got tested a 92 out of 100. So I was like, okay, like, and my reaction wasn't like, oh my gosh, I have ADHD, my life is screwed up. Like, that wasn't my reaction. To be honest, I was just going in because I was just curious to learn more about myself. And that also pissed off the psychiatrist, because the psychiatrist was like, okay man, like you got ADHD, and like I know this must be a shocker, but first, like do you want a prescription of Adderall? So meanwhile, I'm a pharmacist, so I know this isn't really what, like, I'm not really a big believer in medications, unless you absolutely need to take it. So I've been living my life with ADHD. I just didn't know it, and my life has been pretty great. So I was like, nah, I'm okay. I don't want Adderall. Like I don't need it. And then he's like, are you sure? Like, you have a pretty high ADHD. And I was like, nah, yeah, I'm fine. And then this is kind of weird to me, but he got pissed off. He said, so what are you doing here? Like, if you don't want Adderall and you don't seem like you need my help, like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, and I literally just told him, like, hey, I was just curious if I have ADHD or not. That's all. I just want to know if I had ADHD. And then he's like, all right, dude, just get out of here. And I was like, okay, sure, whatever. Kind of thought it was weird that he got mad that I didn't even care that much. I didn't see myself as a problem. But anyways, I think he was trying to make money off of me, and he couldn't, and that's that. But anyways, once I learned that I had ADHD, I was like, oh, this makes so much sense, like, about my life. Like, I started to introspect and reflect on my life, and I'm still Ike. Nothing changed. Like, it's not like, oh, now I have this magic power, or like I'm just a whole different being. But my awareness of who I am and my tendencies just greatly increased. And so, for example, I have all these like weird little nuanced tendencies that make Ike uniquely me. And one of them is like, I literally listen to music at least 3 hours a day, like, because I just constantly need stimulation, and I just love music. Like, I DJ from time to time and whatnot. But part of that reasoning for always listening to music is I just need constant stimulation. Another nuanced tendency about Ike is I watch YouTube videos at 1.5x speed. Like I just need it's kind of like, oh, come on, just get it over with. Like I just want to like go through the content. And even when I'm talking to people, I know it's not the best social tendency, but I can have a tendency to want to just like speed up the conversation because I understand the point of the person. And I know that's not socially appropriate, and I probably should not be doing that. And I'm very aware of it, so I do my best not to do it. But, I just have these tendencies to want to speed things up. And it creates like an abnormal relationship with time, where if I'm talking with a friend and I'm like, yo, let's meet at 6 o'clock, and someone comes at like 6:05, 6:06, especially when I was younger, I would get really I wouldn't get really pissed off, but internally I'm like, dude, it's 6:05, it's 6:07. Like, you said you're gonna be at 6. Like, you're gonna respect my time. Like, and it would and stuff like that would anger me. Now I'm a lot better with it, and I can understand when I'm being a bit more impatient, or my ADHD may be acting up. But at the end of the day, even though I got this ADHD diagnosis, I'm still the same. I'm still Ike. It just gave me the awareness to understand myself, and that's all I really wanted. So, anyways, why did it take me so long to understand that I have ADHD? Well, I think part of the issue was I was a high functioning ADHD person, and apparently I did a lot of things to compensate for my ADHD naturally. And in high school, I was an honor student. I was doing well in school, and I never really had any academic or school issues that would be like, "Hey, this guy has ADHD," or it was never anything of super problematic. So even though some teachers and doctors are like, and some people hinted that I might have it, it wasn't so problematic that like I had to like just go in and like get a diagnosis, because so I think that was probably one of the reasons. But apparently adult ADHD diagnoses are becoming more of a thing, and if you suspect like you have it, I definitely go recommend checking perhaps taking the QV test, or seeking a psychiatrist to get diagnosis. After that, I just started doing a bunch of research on ADHD, and I came across Dr. K's videos. And shout out to Dr. K, great psychiatrist, great YouTuber, extremely entertaining, and I love him, man. He's awesome. And he greatly increased my knowledge on ADHD. And I believe he has ADHD too, which is why he can speak so eloquently and articulate about it. So pretty much he said this one thing where he had this specific lecture, and it was geared towards people with ADHD. And he was pretty much talking about how since he has ADHD, his life has been catered towards always having something to do, always having multiple things to do. And for me, I was like, he said like that really hit me, because basically he was saying like, if you have ADHD, chances are you can't just do one thing. I have like one project going on and being satisfied. Like you need to have a bunch of different things going on so your brain can constantly be stimulated. And I was like, that makes sense. And he said he had like 3 to 5 bucket of things that he constantly does to keep himself stimulated. And for me, not to get too much into detail, but I have a good amount of things that I do to get myself stimulated. I have my full-time job as a pharmacist working from home. I own different real estate properties. I have my own podcast where I literally interview guests every week. And I also do dog sitting. I do all of this at once just so I can keep myself constantly stimulated. And it's just who I am, and I embrace it. But I didn't really know or understand my relationship with stimulation until I actually got the diagnosis with ADHD and started doing the research from Dr. K videos and reading other books. So anyways, I just wanted to share that story about my diagnosis and how ADHD has changed my life. Take it as you will. ADHD doesn't define you. It's just a condition that makes you unique. That's all. And that's how I look at it. I have a podcast if you all like, and if you're interested in the topic of ADHD, I actually did a podcast with a cool guy named Daniel Jones, who happens to also be autistic and have ADHD. And we had a great conversation about all the little nuances we have with ADHD. I mean, it was funny. I remember at one point we were even, like, as I'm speaking to y'all right now, I have the TV on, and I always put cartoons either when I'm doing a podcast or filming a video, because even though I'm not even paying attention to the cartoon, I just need like stimulation. Call that good or bad, it's just how I function and whatnot. Well, anyways, thank you all for watching this video. Remember, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And if God is for us, who can be against us? See ya.